everybody. Welcome to the 21 Minutes or Less podcast. Today we're talking about biggest obstacles. And I think one of my biggest obstacles was honestly this year, like throughout COVID, just trying to graduate from grad school. I was supposed to graduate in July, but now it's getting pushed back to December. So I feel like obstacles are, of course, challenging, but one, I feel like they build character. And two, I feel like they're purposely sent from God to be able to guide you on a better path of something that you might have not even known that you wanted or that you were able to do. So, biggest obstacle, definitely getting through COVID, graduation. But in the grand scheme of things, it's like I still got my education. I'm still able to go to my internship. Like I'm still alive. So I don't feel like it was that huge in the grand scheme of everything that's going on in the world right now.
I I feel you on that. I know when we think about biggest obstacles, we often think about like external things that we have no control over. But for me, honestly, my biggest obstacle has been myself. And one of those things that I will have to say is execution. With me, I love ideation. Like I love coming up with different ideas. I love having different things going on. But at the same time, it's like, okay, it's good to have an idea, but you have to put the execution and work behind it. So I know with me, I have to work a little bit harder when it comes to execution and, making those goals, not only making the goals, but then have action items behind those goals. And then on top of that, I'm kind of like a perfectionist. So if I feel like all my ducks are not in a row, I don't even want to do it, which leads to procrastination. So it's kind of like a domino effect, if that makes sense.
For sure. And, I'm definitely with you on the procrastination thing. But recently, I've been actually really, really good about doing things. And I think it's because I've been using my calendar so much. So I feel like, back in the day, procrastination probably was my biggest obstacle. But, just with being one, a productivity coach and trying to help other people, like it really has helped me with my productivity as well. So like I use Google Calendar all the time. Like if you looked at my Google Calendar, it looks someone else. But it helps to keep me on track. And I know for me, I'm more of an anxious procrastinator. So
Hmm.
it's like four different types of procrastinators. You're a perfectionist procrastinator. I'm an anxious
Yes,
procrastinator. And with anxious procrastinators, it's like I'm procrastinating because I got anxiety. But it's also I'm like a little tiny bit of a perfectionist procrastinator as well. Cause it's like I got anxiety because I want it to be perfect. And it's like once you realize that nothing's ever gonna be perfect, you be like, okay, let me just put it out here because planning is procrastination as well. A lot of times people talk about the stuff they planning and it's just like that's cool, but this is just a like you said, an idea. So I definitely think a lot of people's biggest obstacle is procrastination, which is why I'm working so hard to like help people with that and like fight procrastination.
definitely. And not only that, I feel like I have been on a healing journey, so to speak. This COVID has
Mm.
definitely set me down. And with me sitting down and having a lot of time to myself, it made me think about things that have been suppressing. So another obstacle is kind of like dealing with my childhood trauma that I've experienced
Mm.
at a young age that I never really dealt with. And it's like you go through things as a young child, and if you don't have the right resources or go to counseling or have the knowledge to cope with it, it can kind of like, hinder you as an adult. And I realized that some of the things that happened to me when I was a younger child has kind of followed me into my adulthood, and I had to, seek therapy and try to figure out how can I heal and deal with those things and not allow it to like rule my life. And I also feel like it has contributed to like health issues because when you suppress stress and trauma, it like eats you up inside.
Yeah.
and you don't have
Definitely.
any release. Like writing is a release for me. That's what I do all the time. Like I feel like I'm a writer and I read, but I also felt like that was me trying to cope with what I was dealing with. But even with me writing and reading, I still didn't have the proper tools to really understand, how to get over the things that I was dealing with, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like I definitely been on my own little healing journey. Probably I wouldn't even say throughout the whole COVID. Probably like since I got broke up with. So probably like a month ago, month and a half. But it's been like the best, literally, I could say this has been like maybe the best month of my life. It's been very productive. And I feel like sometimes you got to go through those obstacles to like help you. And I feel like the breakup, it was very helpful for me because I was like, okay, all this energy I'm putting into somebody else, let me put this into myself. Let me see, like, how do I feel sometimes? Like, let me try to push like you said, health is wealth. And it's a huge part of like the regular everyday things that you go through in life. People don't understand how connected like mental and physical health is. But that's one thing I've been doing in the last month. I've been fasting a lot and I'm reading this book called Always Eat After 7 p.m. by Joel Marion. And in the book he just talks about like how intermittent fasting, it can help you to get clarity, focus, energy. It kind of help you reset your appetite, things like that. And I actually been implementing it and it has been so helpful. Like I feel lighter, I feel more focused. Right now I'm only really like eating one time a day, and people probably feel like that's crazy, but it's been the best choice of a lifetime. And sometimes you got to go through those journeys of like focusing on yourself to realize like what's wrong or what you've been doing that's not so good, and then trying to correct it. Because if you don't even stop to like heal or take a moment to be like, let me reflect on this, how is this affecting me, things like that. Like you said, you'll go through something your whole or be have went through your whole life and just realize like, wow, this is still affecting me, or this is still something that I never really got over, or I never really talked to anyone about. So I think it's important to like share the obstacles you go through and share like your journey of healing, your journey of wellness. And it's definitely gonna be able to help other people. So if nothing else, like if you don't get anything, you should know that somebody might be able to heal themselves from you spreading your own journey.
I definitely agree because I always feel like the life we live is not necessarily our own. Like we were here with different gifts to help others. That's what I believe. And sometimes, like you said, we have to go through those obstacles to learn those lessons so we can give those lessons to other people.
Exactly. I feel like it's not like it's no L's no more. Like I don't know, whenever something quote unquote negative or bad happens, like I really feel like everything is about perspective. So I don't even look at, I guess, bad stuff as bad stuff anymore. It's like, okay, this happened. Cool. This is the part of life. And I think something that I've learned in this past month or two is like, you got to be okay with not being okay. Because if you're going through life like, oh, I'm good all the time, it's like, even when you do have little hiccups and stuff, you're gonna be so busy trying to portray and look like you okay, you're not gonna have time to ever really get through it. So I definitely think being comfortable with being uncomfortable is like something that if more people were able to do, I feel like it would be less distress in the world. Because you can't be distressed when you feel like, oh, this wasn't negative. This was, a blessing in disguise, or this set me up for this in my future. Like a lot of times we just thinking about the now and what's going on, in this moment. But you got to look at things in the long run. Like, is this gonna even matter in 2 months? Is it gonna matter in a year? Is it gonna matter in 10 years? And so things that's like not gonna matter in like at least 2 months, you gotta start worrying about. So that's something I've been doing, just trying to let things go, let things be what they gonna be, and being okay with, okay, I'm not okay right now. I'm able to say I'm not okay, but the fact that I know that I'm not okay is me being way better than trying to act like I'm okay and not being okay.
Yeah. So I had to have a real conversation with a friend, and they were telling me that I need help with my communication. And I was like, you know what? You might be right. Because like I said earlier, I would suppress like how I was feeling. Like I would like keep that stuff inside. I would even say anything, and then instead of saying something, I would just distance myself and be in isolation, which can cause depression. And it's not healthy.
Yeah,
So I definitely need to find my voice in a sense and speak up more. But I think that was my way of trying to avoid conflict. But that's just not reality. I mean, there's going to be conflict. Instead of trying to avoid conflict, I just need to figure out how to um find healthy ways to solve problems, basically.
definitely. I think conflict resolution is one of the most important skills people can have because a lot of people don't know how to deal with conflict. Like, it's literally people that'll ghost you, people that'll be like, I'd rather just act like everything is okay and not tell you what I'm really feeling. People that just won't say nothing at all and like they'll just ignore it. So I think people need to understand don't even know something wrong with you because you like, oh, I'm okay. But it's like sometimes you got to stop and be like, what am I willing to tolerate? What am I willing to put up with in order to, connect with this person or to be in this situation? Because if you don't know what you're going to put up with, then somebody going to beat and push your limit, but you didn't even know that was your limit. So now you just sitting there, don't know how to bring it up to them anxiety, etc. And it's like it could be avoided by using your voice, but you don't even want to do that because you're so timid or shy or nervous or anxious or avoidant, and it's just okay, guys. So if you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. First of all, it's free. Y'all know I love some free stuff. And there's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or the computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and so much more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. Like, it's super amazing. I love it. It's been very beneficial for me. So make sure y'all download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Again, make sure you download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Oh yeah, I was basically just saying like a lot of times people don't know how to deal with conflict, so they'll be sitting there and they won't say anything because they don't even know what to say. And if you don't know your boundaries or your limits, you also not gonna know how to deal with conflict because you're not even gonna know when that point is reached. You just gonna be sitting there feeling some type of way.
Another obstacle that I have to deal with is
Mm-hmm.
during this healing process, my new self trying to overcome my old self. So it's kind of like an internal struggle or internal battle because we have different habits that
Mm-hmm.
we're used to having, and then you've been living with yourself for, well, I'm 29. I've been living with myself 29 years, and here I am in a couple of months trying to revamp my whole life and look at things from a different perspective, have a more positive mindset, and it's kind of like I'm trying to wipe out all the old negativity out in a few months. And of course, that's not realistic. So, but it's like my new self is constantly trying to battle and overcome my old self.
It's a constant journey. And I think that's where people go wrong when they think, oh, I just got to get over this obstacle and then I'm going to be good. Or, oh, I just got to get over that and I'm going to be good. And it's like, no, it's going to be obstacles for
Mm-hmm.
the rest of your life. No matter what it is, it's always going to be something. So I think people, they just want the microwave, the microwave solutions, but some stuff is like it's ongoing, especially a healing journey. It's like, once you heal from one thing, you got to start dealing with something else. You're not going to just heal from one thing and then be totally healed. Like, we just have so many layers as people. And so sometimes it can be a little bit overwhelming to
Yes,
to
absolutely.
focus on one thing at once. Honestly, and I'm just speaking for me, I feel like for me, mine needs to be by itself because, like, for me, like I said, I got broke up with like a month and a half, 2 months ago almost. But I've been in relationships since I was like 19. I'm 24. So I've been in literally relationships for like the past 4 or 5 years. And it's like maybe I'm not able to be the best me possible because I'm always with somebody else or giving them my energy or giving them my time or giving them,
Hmm.
you just got to give so much in relationships. And not saying like nobody ever gave nothing to me back, but it's like I want to give to myself now. And that's it. Like before, I probably would have been lonely or something. I ain't even gonna lie, when I got into my relationship before the last one, I was back swiping like the
Right,
next day. Like, okay, what's new out here? But now it's like I don't even have no desire. Like I don't even want to give no one my energy. So I feel like it needs to be alone. But that's just for me. Somebody else, they might not been in a relationship for 5, 6 years and they on their own healing journey, but they
right.
can't
While you're
what about
healing,
you?
you don't want to harm or hurt the person you're trying to build with. Because you're not even done getting over your trauma and all the issues you got going on. So it's easy to
Mm.
project those insecurities onto your partner.
How can I fully heal when
Hmm.
like you there? It's like, how am I healing? Like you're here. It's so easy to become dependent when you're in a relationship. And not saying that's a bad thing, that's what's supposed to happen. But it's like if you trying to be independent and, focused on you, you just can't because you gotta focus on your boo. And it's like you said, it's kind of unfair to them.
Yeah. It's like while you're healing, how do you balance doing that and still going to work? Doing that, still going to school, doing that. And if you got a child, you still got to deal with your child. It's like, when do you take that time out for yourself?
I feel like it's all the time. It's all throughout the day. I'm not gonna lie, I'm working from home right now, so it's probably a lot easier than it might be at when I wasn't. But even with my internship, like, right now I don't have a lot of clients, which is a little bit annoying, but I might have 3 clients. I'm in my internship for 8 hours. I might have to do notes for those 3 clients. That's another hour or two. So if I got 5 hours where I'm doing stuff, 3 hours where I'm not, I'm gonna take those 3 hours and invest them into me. So I start reading my devotional, I write in my gratitude journal. Like I do all of this while I'm at my internship or work. It's like, you're not constantly working 24/7. So, just take any moments you can. Like if I'm working at home and I just need, just a mental clearness, I'm gonna go outside for like 5 minutes, just sit there, chill, whatever. It's like, you gotta incorporate it throughout your day. Well, thank y'all for listening to our episode on biggest obstacles. Make sure y'all go follow us on Twitter and Instagram at 21 minutes or less, and then follow our Facebook page